Just unmute
Scott?
your, yeah, just unmute your thing, buddy.
Oh, yeah, we're in. We're in. We're golden.
Oh, you in?
We're in.
What's going on?
Well, I'm not real good at that. I'm not real good at that
Oh, Christ, you are.
technical. I got in, right? So I can't be that bad.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. How are you
Yeah.
doing, guys?
Not bad. How are
Good.
you, man?
Well, I'm doing fine. I'm so glad to come on your show. I really am because, uh, you know, I haven't joined or anything because I'm not, I'm not on Facebooks or anything like that there. But
Yeah,
I see you got a ton of members. But I've watched every episode that you guys have done.
yeah,
And I you know, a lot of it I've heard, Scott,
yeah,
but a lot of it
yeah,
I haven't. A lot of it I haven't, and
yeah,
it's very interesting. I especially like the young people getting on and
yeah,
giving their perspective on the sport and kind of when I see that, I kind of see myself a little, you know,
yeah.
which goes back many moons,
Many moons, many moons, buddy. Many moons.
Scott, or I got a question for Kate here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. While you guys, uh, we get an hour later, an hour and a half later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, while I was watching the Red Shores, and I thought, well, let me call the judges to see what I should do with Kate. Uh,
Oh God.
did, did she, if we find out that she didn't have transportation problems, they want, they want to know if did she throw a shoe or did she break equipment, like, and she had to go back to the paddock, and that's what held it up. So, but they they said in this case, Wally, you're the judge and the jury, so you can
Yeah.
penalize her or do whatever you want. So I'll give her a pass on this one. I'll give
Oh,
her.
thank God. That's I guess jogging and training after work. I shouldn't do it. I should take my lunch breaks and do it, but I
No
guess I
way.
don't really have time. So I
Yeah.
have I have a couple horses in the barn. Well, I have four horses. And then my daughter has two mini ponies that she's been racing. So it's
Yeah.
been it's been chaos the last little bit, that's for sure.
Well, the
Have you
horses come
seen?
first, Kate.
Have you,
I
have
know.
you,
That's what
Yeah,
I say. My
horses
horses
come
always
first.
come first.
They've always come first in my family and the family I grew up in. And sorry about the rest of your luck because that's just the way it is.
I agree. Yep.
yeah. Pick your friends, but you can't pick your family, right?
Well, my mom always said, she said this when we were young. She said, you're not allowed to get married or, have your wedding or a funeral on a race day because you'll be there by yourself.
Yeah. That's true.
Yep.
That's very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
no,
you guys have done a tremendous job on here. Like I said, I can't remember. I know you said, I think you had 30 already, right? Is it?
this is 31 tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. And, each and every one was good. Let me just turn that TV down. I'll come right back. Let me turn the
Oh
TV.
yeah, go ahead, bud. He's watching the Red Shores too. Yeah. Watching his home track.
Yeah, that's where I kind of that's where I learned my trade. That's where I grew up and learned my trade right there. And
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, Wally. Growing up in PEI and kind of how you got your start, bud.
yeah, it was pretty simple, really. We lived right in Charlottetown. That's where our family home was. And
Yeah.
my grandfather, who I really never met, like I'm named after him.
Yeah.
Uh, he was quite I guess an entrepreneur back in the day,
Yeah.
and he had a love for harness racing. And growing up in Charlottetown, as you guys know, I think you do anyway. It's over 100 years there, right, or more?
Oh yeah.
I know,
Yep.
yeah. So through him getting involved spending all his money on horses,
Yeah.
making money on other businesses and spending it all on the horses. And
Horses.
it was pretty simple. From my father was the only boy, so
Yeah.
it was easy for him to, become involved.
Yeah.
Through that, then along come 9 of us, 5 boys, 4 girls, and
Yeah.
all 5 boys just kind of followed through, on with the heart, at a necessity as well, because um, it was a big family, and that was
Yeah.
how he was making his living. And my
Yeah.
mom, and my mom had odd jobs here and there, but for the most part, for very little salary, that's how we were raised. And so 4 of us, 4 of the 5, really wanted to do that. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, we were never forced to, but we
No.
wanted. But one didn't. He became a lawyer, but the
I was
other,
going to ask you that, what the other
John,
fella ended up doing.
yeah, John, I don't think he hated it. He just never had no passion for it. And,
Yeah.
um, when we discussed it or talked about it, it wasn't like he walked out of the room or anything, but
No, no.
he it wasn't his cup of tea. And
Yeah.
he went on, he became a lawyer. But the other 4 went right through with it. Each of us drove. Jody's being the oldest.
Yeah.
And then my brother Dan, who was associated with me for 35 or 40 years,
Yeah.
he drove, but he never really liked the driving part of it.
No, he didn't, did he?
No.
No.
Well, he always said that he knew what to do.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
he was always a second and a half late, and that
Yeah.
doesn't work. That doesn't work in the race game.
No, not a good sport to be late, right?
No, yeah, he knew the move to make, but he was too late getting it done. And then by the time he thought about doing it, he couldn't do it no more. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that was part of it. And then me, and then my younger brother Gordy, who's pretty good at it as well. I don't think he's in it as he's the only one that still has goes for a little drive every now and again besides
Yep.
me. But
Yep.
my sister's in an ownership there, with Gord.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah.
And Jody still has a hand in it, but no more training or driving.
No.
And Dan ran into that, bad situation. He's blind. He ended up going
Yes,
blind.
I heard that. Yeah. He's
So
down. He's down living in with you down that way, eh?
no, he went back home.
Oh, did he?
He went back to the island about God, it's got to be 5 years ago now.
Holy
Yeah.
jeez, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was unfortunate. The first part with him was he had a tumor. He had, like cancer, and then they did the chemo or radiation and all that. And after they did it, like when they took the patch off, he never seen out of that eye again. And then
Yeah.
he went like maybe 6, 8, 10 years, with a perfect other eye. And then
Yeah.
he had a completely detached retina, which isn't
Yeah.
a big thing today. And they attach them now like they're brushing their teeth. But
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
complication after complication, and bingo. Next
Yeah.
thing, it was a slow process. Took about 5 years or so for him to go completely blind.
Yeah.
But he gets along great home. He
Yeah.
loved the horses. He still has, goes to the races and stuff, but there's nothing they can
Yeah.
really,
No, I mean, he gets the benefit of listening to one of the best announcers with Dan. So
Yeah, we'll get on that subject a little too,
yeah.
because we might as well get on it right now.
Yeah, sure.
You announced a little, Scott. Like
I did. Yeah.
You announced when I was still there. Like that was in '85, I think, or so when I left, or '86.
Yeah, I would have been a little bit after that, Wally, after like Ingham got me involved probably in the late 80s
Yeah.
and got me doing post parades and things like that. And then one day he just kind of said, let's get you doing a race. And I'm like, holy shit, right? And especially doing it in front of him, right?
Best
The
teacher in the
dean,
world.
yeah, like the dean of maritime track announcers, right there, right? But
Broke them
what a
all.
guy, what a fabulous guy to learn under, though. I mean, I was so fortunate. There's been a few guys, like even Chris Connor. I don't know if you remember Chris. He got a start.
I do remember Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a start announcing with Ingham too. And Andrew Cromwell's another one who went on to a broadcasting career actually because of Ingham. So, but no, I announced the races for quite a few years. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's I took a try at it one time at Pompano.
Did you?
Well,
Oh yes, I've
know,
seen a picture of that.
little bucket list, and I was great friends with the manager, and he ran the
Yeah,
track. Gabe Pruitt. Him and I are, just tremendous friends. I'm close as you can get.
yeah.
And Pompano was on its last legs, and so he allowed me to announce a race. I drove the starting gate when him and the announcer at Gulfstream Park had they called it the Battle of the Big Mouths when they did
Okay.
they did a charity, and they raised over $100,000, like for
Oh wow,
retired horses on both sides.
incredible.
Yeah, thoroughbred and harness. And
Yeah.
I was a starter. That was part of the deal, that I could be the starter. So yeah,
Okay.
but we got back to the announcing. So when I was a kid, Ed
Yeah.
Waters was like, well, I mean, I just thought that there's nobody better than Ed Waters. And
Yeah.
then another very good friend that I grew up with was Boomer Gallant, and
Yeah.
he was tremendous.
He was. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then Vance, and there is no comparison to
I mean,
Vance.
what can you say?
There isn't a comparison, but
Yeah.
Vance is going to hear this, and I know he's not going to like it. But
Yeah.
I'm an Ing the King fan.
Yeah. I know you are. I
Yeah.
am too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I did give the shout out, the boom, when I announced. I did give the boom.
Oh, did you? You give the boom, did you?
I gave the boom. I gave the boom.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to find that tape sometime and play it.
Yeah, it's out there. I don't know where it
Is
is.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where it would be, but it's out there. I made sure it was a short field, like it had to be a short. I'll tell you, like, I got to give you guys credit because, like, I guess I mean, I went up cold as a mackerel. Like I didn't have no experience doing it. I've heard and listened to a lot of races, but it's not when it comes showtime now.
Yeah, I know.
You almost get tongue tied. You almost like go a little while where you can't add any lib or
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah, that's the thing as an announcer because you don't know how the race is going to unfold. You think a horse is going to leave, and then they trick you and take back, and somebody you never dreamed was going to take the front, and all of a sudden on the front end, right? So,
I was
but
glad I got it off the bucket list anyway. It's gone. I won't announce again. Maybe if Vance ain't too mad at me when I go home and retire, he might let me go up and announce one. But I don't know. He might not. He might be upset with me because I'm an Ing fan.
No, I don't think he'd hold that against you. I think he held Ingham in quite high regard too, man.
Yeah. I think he's. I've been all over the world, and I don't think there's any better.
Yeah.
That was my own opinion. That's
Yeah.
just.
Yep, exactly.
I'm very happy with you guys that you're doing this. I know that I don't know how he's come up with this.
This crazy idea.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's great. Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you, I know it's a lot of work, and and you guys are, you get sponsorships, and you're doing it for the love of the game and the passion and the love you have for the racing game, and I still see, like, after 3 months, I don't see a slide, so I don't, but it's very good, and I think I could be wrong, but like you said, you had like 3,000 or 4,000 people, become members or not, whatever, like was joined in on the show, or what is that?
Well, we've got 4,000 plus people on our Facebook page. I know you don't do Facebook,
No.
but I update maritime news, and Kate makes up some nice posters for our podcast that we promote on there. And we're doing up to, like, some days, Wally, 10 posts a day just on maritime racing, because there's so many stories to tell, and so many things, right?
Yeah. Every day is a new story.
Yeah.
Well, the fact of the matter is there's not many Wallies around my age still competing, so the racing game's still going. There's been generation after generation kept this going, and goodness, well, I know Scott Bernard was doing it there, like he was doing it. I went on with him a time or two, not on the same thing, I don't think that you guys have, but we had nice discussions, and
he does a great job.
And he did a great job. And you guys, I know he was the main focus, or the main guy that did that Hall of Fame for EPR. But I did watch that was like great.
Nice to see, wasn't it? Just a lot of the old faces, and
Aubrey Woods 80.
Yeah.
Aubrey Woods 80, a kid 15. So 7-8 generations there. So
I know, incredible.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
what about,
you got anything for me, Kate?
Kate's gonna ask you a question here.
I have all kinds of things, but I first want to ask, because I'm heavy into the industry, not just within my horses and my stable, but I do a lot within the industry. Like right now we're doing the mini pony races all over the Maritime, so they're hitting every track at some point, so that's been an ongoing thing. But because you've been in the industry so long, and you've seen everything grow and everything change, back when you first started, was there must have been some females, but not like there is today. Like it must have seen a big growth within the female side of the industry.
Yeah, and that's tremendous as well. Geez, Kate, I'm going back. I don't think anybody, I hate to say it because my memory ain't that great anymore, but I just, when I go back, I go back to the 60s, 70s. So but you're right about the female side of it, and there's no reason why there shouldn't be more. Male, female. B. Farber, I guess you can go back to her way back in the 70s or 80s. She was leading driver.
Yeah.
So, oh wow!
It's not like it can't be done; it's been done.
Yeah,
exactly.
She was a leading driver against what many considered, a very talented group of individuals. Like it wasn't like she was just racing fair races and matinee races. She was in the parimutuel, and she grew her business. Her and her husband grew a big business, and then she just grew out of it. But I do see a lot more females that I just wish that more of them would take the next step. I think
the drive.
yeah. Well, what happens is I think they get to a certain point, and it is intimidating. Believe me, it's intimidating for me to this day. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
It is a dangerous sport.
Very dangerous, and it's not all about the finished product either. There's a lot goes with it. So it is very intimidating. But you have one of the greatest that I ever drove, female, that not that I seen her that much, but I know her statistics speak for themselves. Is Claire McDonald there? And And then, on and on you could go. I just can't come up with names like right now. I don't, but I know Claire home, and the McPhee girl, Amber, she loves it.
Yeah.
Tammy McKay loves it.
Yeah. Tammy still drives once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of watched Tam there a couple of times in the island. I pre-raced her a little, but I think I pre-raced her too much.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to gear Tammy up too much, like to get her,
Oh no.
like to get her a little more aggressive. And we might have been out, like, I don't know, the night before or something, a bunch of us.
Yeah.
And she was driving the next day, and I says, "Now, Tam, I'm only here for a couple of days now." I said, "You got to put on a little show for me here." I said, "I don't want to see you going to the back. I want to see you leave out of there, kind of be aggressive."
Yeah.
I think I had her a little touch too aggressive. I think she was a little too.
Is that right?
She does good, but it was bred right into her as well. So,
Oh yeah.
how did you come in, Kate? Where did you come into this picture? Where you are the love or the passion for the
I'm
Good
not
question,
a
Wally.
generation. Like I'm the first generation for me because my family, I'm from a split family. So my mom's side has no idea what harness racing really is. She's on the side or she's watching like my horses go and stuff, or me and my amateur races, and she's like, "You're crazy for going out there and doing it." My dad, he's had a couple, shares in horses. My stepmom, her side of the family really was into it. So like Tom Green, Kenny Green, and them from Kennecook. And then I just jumped into it when I moved to Truro, and I loved it because I've always loved horses. I've always been involved in horses. But the older I get, and I know this sounds so backwards, but the older I get, the more competitive and the more drive I want to be out on that track. So the past couple of years, I've been really diving into like the training side and, wanting to get in the bike and doing the amateur races and even hosting them so I can go in them and stuff. So Amber, I look up to Amber Campbell, like tremendous. Like she is like, I don't want to say like God to me, but she's a star in my eye because I see her every, almost every race card in Charlottetown hitting the track with very, very competitive male drivers, and she holds her own. And it's like, I want to be next to you. Like, I would love, and that would be like, and I keep telling her, I'm like, that's my dream. If it means I only race once, I want to be next to you on that gate. And I want to be able to say, I competed against Amber Campbell. Like, so that's my goal. My dream is to become a driver. And will it happen? I hope, but
Sure again.
I believe from what I see, like from what I've seen, I haven't seen you on the track, but I think your goal is going to get accomplished. I can't see why it shouldn't. I mean, if you have horses and you own them or whatever, I don't.
Yeah, we have.
Do you have a license yet? Do you have your license to drive yet? Do you have?
Not yet. That I want to go for my trainers, and then I was like, I'm game for my drivers, and I said for the longest time, because I know like we have, what is it? There's 3 Nova Scotia female drivers now because we have Monica Sutherland that just jumped in. I'm like, I want to be the 4th. Like, I want to be one of, like, I want to be in that club. Like, I want to be one of those ones to say, I am one of the female drivers in Nova Scotia. And I've put the work and I've put the effort into being one. And
just keep digging. You never know what'll happen.
Well, that's it. Every day after work, like my boyfriend, Andrew Campbell, he's a driver and he's a trainer, and we have our own stock, ones that we have, we've bred. So I usually get here, you go and jog today. Here, you go train this one. And I'm like, perfect. So excited. And he's like, why do you get so excited over just, I'm like, because that's my getaway from everything. Once I hit that track, nothing in the world matters but me and that horse out on that track. And I just love it. So it's just, it's a goal, and it's there and I can see it. I just need to take those steps to get it. So
Well, if I was a judge, I'd pass you. I'd give you. Uh, like I can see it in you. So just keep digging and keep going for it, because it's not. Listen, if you've been out there and you've been jogging, training, the only way you can get any better at driving is, of course, to start. Everybody got to start somewhere. And believe me, you're talking to a guy here that had an education in harness racing all the way up. I wasn't that great in school, but I was going to school. I was going to harness racing school. I never ever paid in class, but I had a great education before I ever started driving. And believe me, you're talking to a guy that was horrible when he started out. Like, I thought I knew everything and I knew nothing. And if anybody should have quit, I should have quit. It was almost an embarrassment, really. But I said, God, I can't be that bad. I mean, something's got to turn here somewhere. And I don't know, a switch went off one day. Like, I guess I remember when my dad said to me, one thing he said to me, well, I'm going back to the 210 miles, right? Or the 215 miles. And he come to me, and my dad didn't say much. I learned from just watching. But he did say to me, and I was kind of thinking I was embarrassing him, and the family. And I was more worried about that than I was myself. But anyway, long story short, I screwed up again. Natural, I screwed up. And I come off the track, and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, I wish I knew. I said, I wish I could tell you. Well, he said, I'm just going to tell you. Now, this was back in the 2-minute days, right? Not 49 or 50s. He said, "You're out there for like 2 minutes and 10 seconds in a race. Can you please stay awake for that long? Just stay awake." When he kind of said that to me, I thought, that shouldn't be that hard to do. And I don't know that I don't think that made me a better driver, but it gave me a thought. I said, you know what? Maybe I am. I'm not paying attention, which I wasn't. I thought I was. So
you must remember your first win, Wally. Who was it with?
Yeah. It was. It was 50 years ago this year.
Wow.
50 years. 1974. In the fall. I think it was September. You couldn't get your license till you were 18 back then. So my dad had a big stable, and my older brother Jody they were both tremendous. And so there wasn't a big opportunity for me to kind of get out there much. Or when I did get out there, in all honesty, I wasn't getting a lot of power, but and I learned along the way that the biggest thing in life, or especially when you're a competitor and you are alone competing, if you don't have confidence, you have nothing.
No, that's true.
So and I had zero confidence. I had zero. So that wasn't helping when I hit it. But anyway, that horse, his name was Cambridge Frisco. He was a friend of the family. He bought the horse for $800, and he seen that I was struggling, so he gave me the horse, and that was my horse to drive. And I was 18. My birthday was in October, and it looked like I was only going to have maybe one or two more drives before I turned 19. And now I look back and see like different young kids like winning 300-400 races at 18 and 19. I was just looking to get my first one before I turned.
Right.
So I threw all logic out the door, and I got aggressive that night and got lucky. Didn't rate the mile at all like you should. Just kind of went blank. Next thing I know, I was going back to the winner's circle, and that's one I'll never forget. And it was the start of
something great.
My career. So that feeling that you get, that feeling I got that night, I never lost. even to this day, like, if I'm driving, I drive 10, 12 races a day, maybe, and having a bad day, and right at the end, if I happen to win one, it's all good. It's all good.
So tell us about now. I know you've been driving some at Saratoga, and you kind of slowed down a little bit, Wally. Is that pretty accurate?
Very accurate.
Yeah. Any reason for that, you think, or you just?
Well, I think if I go back when I first backed up, it was about 15 or 20 years. I never ever stopped.
Yeah.
I backed up about 15 or 20 years ago.
Yep.
Kind of get mentally fried, burn out a little bit because there's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure.
Oh, you're right.
And you can't carry that onto the track with you. You got to be able to console that within yourself and not bring it out to where you're going. So I had Pompano, that was my home, and it was a racetrack, and I always knew I had Pompano, and I was content, like I could make a living doing that. And then I instead of traveling the Grand Circuit or Sire Stake Circuit or anything, I just did what I want to do over the last 15 or 20 years. Now, did I believe I'd still be going now? No.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, guys. I'm not ready.
I'm still here, right?
You're gonna have to deal with me for a little while yet. I don't know how much longer, but you're gonna have to deal with me for a little bit.
So I gotta ask you something down. It's Saratoga related. There's a young guy driving down there. We had him on our podcast a few episodes ago, Brett Beckwith. Tell us a little bit about him, Wally. What do you see in him that makes him such a great driver? Seems like a great young guy, like off the track. He's very motivated. He goes to the gym and stuff like that. And what kind of future? I mean, the kid's already making a future, but is sky the limit for that young guy?
Yeah. He's like light years ahead of where I would be at that time. There's no comparison. He's light years ahead. But he's kind of, his path was a little different than mine. Brett never even really got interested until he was around. Now, this is an amazing thing, really. That you would never really get his both parents. The breeding on both sides. He's by a world champion, out of a world champion. So he's got the credentials. He's got the breeding, right? But he wasn't broke to harness. He didn't like the harness.
No.
So I can tell you this. Here's a fact. This is a fact. The very first horse that Brett Beckwith ever jogged was owned by Wally Hennessy.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been friends. Well, I knew Brett since baby, right? And I've been friends with Mark, very good friends. I bring him home we go home.
Every year.
I brought him home about 5-6 years ago, and he just had the time of his life. But him and I were friends and competitors. We competed. Yeah. And then, and he always used me in different situations. But anyway, going back to Brett.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. He has the whole package. And like I had said just a little earlier, I didn't go into it, and I don't even know how to explain it. The finished product on the track is just a small part of it. Like you have to I don't know, it's a mental game, it's a physical game, it's a preparation game, political game.
It's almost like an NFL quarterback.
Well, but the only thing is, you have to be the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
You haven't got support there. It's you. And one thing about it, no matter how good or bad somebody's been, they're exposed. It's right there in black and white.
Oh,
You can't, like somebody goes to an office and had a bad day at the office. Nobody knows about it. Rather than say, I had a great day. Well, if you go out on the racetrack and you had a bad day, the first thing you're going to hear the next morning, how'd you do last night, Wally?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna hear that.
Yeah, so yeah, you're the eyes are on you,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
our
absolutely.
sport is worldwide. Like now with this technology and how we can
Yeah,
watch races from everywhere in the world,
bet
and
from anywhere.
when you start watching a certain individual, which you guys have started to do with Brett, you're
Yeah,
seeing the work ethic that the kid has. He gets that very honest from his dad, very,
yeah,
very honest from his dad. But the enthusiasm that he has for the game, and
yeah,
what I love about him the most is the way he interacts with you know the, the trainer, the drivers, the grooms. That's a big part. That's before you ever hit the track. That's a huge factor. Uh, and the other thing I like about him is the way the handling of the horse. I mean, the statistics themselves so far have
yeah,
spoke for themselves. I mean, anybody can see what his statistics are. But if you watch him closely, he seems to never kind of put himself in a bad position, which that isn't always going to be the case. I mean, we always get ourselves in bad positions, but the kindness that he has when when the horse is, it looks like he's done. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no looking to get something that isn't there, and
Right.
so that tells me that that's a guy that's staying awake for 2 minutes. He's staying awake for
Yeah,
2 minutes.
yeah. And he respects the horse too. You can
Yes, that's
tell.
what I mean. He loves the horse. Yeah, he's got the package. You
Yeah,
know, like listen, this is just a stepping stone for him right now.
yeah, yeah,
And I hope he stays with this the way he's doing it right now for a
yeah,
while, because
yeah,
there's still that learning process. Even though the numbers are astronomical, you still
yeah,
have to, when you get to another step, it's a step. And if you maybe get there too quick, I'm wishing him. I'm on his team, so he's got a cheerleader in me. But sometimes if you get there too quick and things don't work out, it can take that. It can take that. Your desire and your I don't know. You just your desire and
yeah,
you just kind of lose a little confidence. You say, maybe I'm not,
yeah,
ready for the next step, or maybe I never will be ready for the next step. My opinion, he's ready. He's ready whenever he wants to be, but
yeah.
I'm not going to tell Brett Beckwith what to do. He's gonna have to figure it out on his own.
Yeah, there
I
you
do
go.
I do hit him up the odd time for a free meal. He doesn't come up. He's not good at doing that.
Oh no.
He's not good at that. Yeah, I've been trying to teach him that one, but he hasn't. I can't get him into that one yet.
Yeah,
So, speaking of young drivers, we've got a few new ones, and even other drivers in Maritimes. What do you think of our kind of like our driving colony within the Maritimes? It
Well,
seems to be pretty competitive. We've got some young ones now hitting the track and starting up, and there's still some that have the drive that keep them going as well.
yeah. Well, like I said, you can't hide what I've done in the business, right? So I mean, I've seen every different style, every different size track, every different start, standstill starts, every start,
yeah,
different distances, but on and on and on.
yeah,
I'm a huge fan. I'm an Islander at heart. I never ever lost that.
yeah,
Um, I watched Red Short. Well, when we were going on, you see, I was watching,
yeah, yeah.
and
Me too.
it's first and foremost. I forget. Let me just say first that before we get to the track, what about the
Yeah.
broadcasts they have there? I mean, that team and the presence they put on and the show that they put on is
Oh,
like
the show they put
makes
on.
you
Yeah,
proud. Makes me very proud. Lee Drake, I've known him my whole life,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
a good friend. I mean, Lee's part of it. I think he's the main. He's the boss, I guess, or whatever. But you have to have the whole team and put on a show like that. The show they
yeah,
put on. Having said that, Kate, going back to you, there's not a, listen, there's not a one out of, I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of talent that's there.
I know.
It's pretty close race. Like Mark Campbell is phenomenal. Joe
Yep.
Sparrow has just been outstanding his whole career. Class guy. I've known
Yeah.
Joe. Joe was younger, of course, when I was in St. John, when I was winning the
Yeah.
race. Him and his
Yeah.
uncle, Sal and I, we competed against one another. That's who Joe was kind of watching as a kid.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he learned well. He's
For myself.
I think one of the best.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to say Mark and Jill just because they've been the leading drivers. There's any one
Yeah.
of 8 or 10 guys there
I
given
know.
proper opportunity that could be the leading driver there. You just got to get the best power, the most drives. Anybody that's a leading driver is generally hooked up with either their own stable is the leading stable, or they're hooked up with a leading trainer who does well. And so there's 8, 10, and then I seen over the last 5, 10 years, maybe more, there, because everything is just so professional. It really
is. Yeah.
So professional. The way these kids are learning, or not kids, they're not kids now, but the ones that are kids, they're learning the proper way. They're seeing talent.
Yeah.
They don't probably know it or respect it as much as they probably should, because they don't know that these guys are that great. But if you can beat these guys, all you got to do is just pack your gear, guys, and come see it. You're gonna be okay. But then when you make the move, you got to get fortunate, like I did, and get lucky. Just be the right place, right time, right people.
So tell us a little bit about that, Wally. When you had so much success, in St. John, really when you really started taking off. What kind of made you say, I'm going to give this the bigger track a try? We see so many great drivers here in the Maritimes that, definitely could make a go of it like you did down there, but choose to stay in the Maritimes, could be family commitments or whatever. But what made you kind of make that jump at that time?
Oh boy, that's, it's not a tough question. It's an easy question really to answer, but well, if you looked before me, like the people that left that track, the Williams, Callie Rankin, Marcel Barrio, these guys. Steve Mahar. Well, Steve was actually even before them guys. Steve, he was more under contract. Steve,
good on.
So he kind of didn't really probably get Steve probably didn't get the opportunity that he should have been afforded. You follow? Like he was good enough to go to the top level.
Oh, absolutely.
No question. Well, okay, Scott, we'll go to that. I'll answer your other question in a sec, but let me get on to this because I got to do things when I think about it now. You think of the drive, you think like Red Shore is driving talent, which is what it is. But you think about Exhibition Park when I went there. I mean, Marky Smith, there was Boyd Tremere, there was Steve Mahar, there was Francis McIsaac. Oh my God. I can't even, Marcel, my brother Jody, Jody. Callie Rankin. Willard Carr. I mean, who else? Come on. There's all the guys from the island that would ship over.
Boyd McDonald, the McPhees, Alex McPhee.
All them guys. And I mean, here we're all congregated in one place for a 10-dash card. And talk about competitive. Very competitive. And so, when I went there, I was just like training, still trying to. I still didn't give up. I still 20, I think, around there, and I still hadn't given up on Kate. I never gave up on my dream. So I said, well, PEI is no good for me. My dad's driving, my older brother's driving. The chance of me getting any stock to drive or doing any good is probably none. So when I went, I had friends, the Whalens, that got me a job, and then that hooked on with another guy from Prince Edward Island, and he had the best horse there. Do you remember him, Scott? Another Macca.
Oh, first horse I ever sat behind. I sat on the side of the jog cart with Wally McGinnis.
Yeah, well, I ended up with that horse,
The kid.
and
Yeah,
but
what
I
a
wasn't
nice
able,
horse.
I wasn't able to drive him because
Yeah.
Francis always drove him. Like
Yeah.
I had the owners, what was it? The stipulation was I have these horses. When Francis couldn't drive them, which he couldn't drive them
Right.
because he had such a big stable,
I know he did.
I was the driver. And it
Yeah.
just kind of went from there. Now you got to understand, I am getting in the seat
Yeah,
after Francis McEisty.
I know.
So he's the leading driver. So
Yeah.
I got a mitt full of wins, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to, come close to what he was doing.
Yeah.
And this got a little lucky. Well, by 82, I got real lucky. I was the leading driver.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then that was the time when them guys were all there. That was a lot of talent. And then I
Yeah.
seen them guys depart and do well. And
Yeah.
I had all the best owners in Atlantic Canada at the time. And that was in the mid 80s, around 85, 84 to 85. And then I had been going to Pompano for vacation a couple of years. And I
Yeah.
was another dream just to be able to drive a horse at Pompano Park one time.
Yeah.
We discussed it. The owners and my brother Dan was with me, and they gave me the green light. Let's go down for the winter. It was 85, 86, I think. And
Yeah.
so anyway, down we went and found out again. Boy, mistake. Well, the horses I brought with me, they did not fit there. They just weren't good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right place, right time. And then here we are, like whatever many 40 years later now, I guess. 40 years.
Yeah. Because you were driving against guys like Bruce Ranger and all that early on when your early years in Florida, I think too.
The first year I went there was the strongest driving colony ever at Pompano Park.
Yeah.
Because we're all my generation or just a generation above.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a little generation below. But it was strong. It was as strong a drive. The only big name drivers that probably weren't there at the time was Campbell and O'Donnell, LaChance.
Yeah.
Because they stayed at the Midlands. But like all leading drivers from every other racetrack, we only raced 5-6 months then, so everybody wanted to go down for the winter. And anybody that was there was either a leading trainer or a leading driver at their own home track.
Yeah.
And, it was quite an experience. It was a show, and it was. God bless whoever made me decide to make the move.
Yeah.
And I remember getting cold feet a couple of days before I was ready to leave.
Did you?
Ran the racetrack at Exhibition Park. Doug.
Yeah.
And he owned the Park Plaza Motel, and I went in, and I was gonna quit. I wasn't gonna quit harness racing, but I wasn't going to Pompano. I said I'm not. I said I'm just not. Like I was the main dog there, and I said I'm just not ready for that. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm blah 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 blah. And he just told me that his answer was that well, up to yourself. But he said, what's the harm in going 6 months?
Yeah.
If it don't work, you can always come back here. Why can't you come back here? And that was what I took with me, and had just numerous people over the years, especially a lot of people from Atlantic Canada helped me out, throughout my journey.
I got to ask you about a special owner too. I think is near and dear to you. over the years. You know, he's no longer with us, but Romeo Boucher.
Yeah.
Tell us about the relationship with him. You drove so many nice horses for him, Wally, like Pennant Play and Autopilot and horses like that. Just kind of tell us what some of the owners that really stick out in your mind here in the Maritimes when you were having your success back here.
Well, we'll go with him first, but
Yeah.
he didn't get me going. He wasn't one of the ones that
No.
he wasn't. He was Romeo. Can I say this without being cocky? I don't want to sound cocky, but I was on a pretty good roll right then.
Right.
At the time, he had a couple of good horses, like you said. Pen and Play was one of the tops in the. So I think Romeo did his business. He said, "You know what? This fellow here, I think might do me some good." And so we
seen a
hooked
good
up.
match.
Yeah, well, it was I mean, him, me, and the trainer, and that's kind of like he was the first top horse that I drove in Atlantic Canada, and he was easy to drive. He was aggressive, and I was aggressive. He was aggressive. The horse was good, and you know, he took me on, you know, on the circuit, which got me better going. And so there's Romeo, but you know what, Scott? There's been so many owners.
So many, I know. So
just right now, I only have a couple of horses for a guy.
Yeah.
Paul O'Neill here, Paul and Patty O'Neill they're been friends of mine for 30 years here in Saratoga. And you know, they've stuck, so many people have stuck with me throughout. You know, well, it's a tough business, and you know, you need all the support, no matter whether you're the driver, trainer, or whatever you may be. You need support from all parts of the industry to, you know, to have longevity. You know, I mean, people didn't stop driving. Top drivers didn't stop driving. Because they wanted to.
No, exactly.
Driving because they weren't getting the opportunities anymore. Because once you get that feeling of winning and that adrenaline and how, you know, the whole thing that goes with it. You're not throwing that away. You're not giving it away. Eventually it just goes away. And fortunately for me, whatever reason, I'm not by no means on the top level, not even close, but I still don't look at a place out there. That's good.
Oh my God, I guess you don't, Wally. You got to give yourself some credit, buddy. I know you're getting older and stuff, but man, you can still drive one.
Well, that's for your opinion.
I think that's a lot of people's opinions.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Kate, why don't you hit Wally up with another question?
Easy, Kate. Easy.
I'll do one from my perspective of Nova Scotia, because that's where I'm based.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
We don't have a driving colony like PEI. We don't have those young drivers. We have Paul Angel, which is our kind of almost our youngest, I would have to say right now, our youngest driver here, and he's doing phenomenal for himself. But how, in your opinion, how is a good way to get more young drivers? Because our colony here is older and they're starting to, you know, get out of it. Like Danny Romo, he's pretty much slowly getting out. He keeps saying for years though that he's retiring, and we always end up seeing him back on the track.
But he doesn't do bad either, does he, Kate? When he was back out there, he does pretty good, doesn't he?
He won one last Sunday.
No, you know, that's a question. That's a question that's been asked before I was born. You know, kind of the same thing. And the fact, I guess, of the whole thing, you do have enough, probably I wouldn't say the same type of colony that Charlottetown has, but you have a pretty good driver colony in Truro as well. Matters not where you are, Kate. It's where you can do and where you can compete and where you can make a living. Because quite honestly, this is a very expensive sport today.
Sure is.
All the best, all went to the one place. There can only be one top. There can't be 10 tops. There can, so like that, and that be the case, we'll say at Red Shores. There can be only one person on top. But I think they're all very, very capable. And I think you have many capable people in Truro as well. The biggest, it's not, you'll get the young blood. What we need is the ownership part of the game to be able to support the young blood to get like the reason why the older people still hang on, they have their clients that they've had for years, and they pick up the odd new one here and there, but it's very odd, and it's very hard to convince. And now I've seen you guys talk about this on the show about these fractional ownerships. That's a great thing because people have to absorb as much of the cost. But the biggest thing is not how do we get them. The first thing you have to do, you have to get the ownership to get the horse to get there. You don't have a population over there that can afford to have a capable or a tremendous driver just standing around watching because he isn't getting an opportunity to do it. So if we started from the ownership brings horses, which makes the horse population bigger. How we do that today, I think you're doing the best thing right now or a lot of people are doing the best thing right now with them fractional ownerships. And I think the little mini races you guys are
mini races,
bringing in not just the kids, but the kids' families, the kids' friends, all the above. That's what amateur driving was when it first started in the United States, was to bring that kind of a thing, the amateurs' friends, and that's what on many race days, your grandstand, the concessions do much better because there's more people there, and that's my opinion. I really can't. I was never good at giving advice because I always figured that I'm doing well to do what I'm doing myself. Like it's a full-time job. I would love to see the government of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick jump on board like they did in the island. Like we guys, if they're listening, whoever's there, in the provinces, just look at what's happening on Prince Edward Island. It's working. It's working. The money isn't being wasted, guys. It's going back into the economy. It's giving people lives. It's selling trucks. It's
exactly. It's an investment.
It's not like the money's being absorbed by 2, 3, or 5 certain individuals. So if the governments of them provinces, I think Nova Scotia's trying so hard, Kate. I see it there, the different things they're trying, and I think it's tremendous. You're going to get good crowds for all these different activities and things you're putting on, like the Sackville race and the mini races, and all of the above, the Claire McDonald promotions. I think they all work. Everything works. But the fact of the matter is, we don't work on the attendance. We work on how much money's being gambled, and we have to show the government that be it. And I think Charlottetown's starting. They're slowly, not slowly, but better than slow, quickly building a better simulcast and showing that there is interest in this sport. Our live audience is never going to be the same. Never. It's not, people aren't going to the racetrack. That's just bottom line. They're not going. They don't have to. They can sit home. They don't have to be there. They'll bet 10 different racetracks. The big gambler, he's not going to a racetrack. He's sitting home betting 10, 12 tracks. He's doing all the above. But I'm not real good on advice about.
Come on, you sell
No, really,
yourself short too
I'm
much,
not.
Wally.
It's just a fact. What we need is owners.
Yeah,
Right.
In
Yeah.
the standardbred industry, we have tracks. Yeah, they're closing. I lost my best friend. Listen, I'm not over it yet.
Yeah.
Pompano, my life.
Pompano, I
I don't
know.
care what the rest of my career was. I have
Yeah.
care less. Pompano
Yeah.
Park was my
Near
heartbeat.
and dear.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm better today than I was a couple of years ago when it closed. But I'm still grieving. I mean, it's not coming back.
No.
It's me worrying about it or thinking that it is because it's not coming back. You know, it was a surreal feeling that last night, just everything, the way it went out. And I think it was the 4th or 5th highest handle we ever had. And actually, a fact that a lot of people don't know, the night before, son of a gun, didn't they hit the pick 5, the last race for it was like a $200,000 or $300,000 carryover.
Wow.
Had they carried in to the final night, they would have like bet 4 million. You know, but okay. And having said that, like I know I can't keep you on here all night, but having said that, Gabe Pruitt was the heartbeat there. I mean, he did this track. He was hired. Now here's who he was hired by. In Atlantic Canada, Brett Revington was.
Brett Revington.
And he hired Gabe Pruitt, the best hire was ever made in harness racing.
Yeah.
Gabe Pruitt took a racetrack that was betting $60,000 a night. I think the last year that we raced, we had over 20 or $25 million handles.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it can be done.
Incredible.
It can be done. Everybody said our product wasn't worth betting into. The only way you get a product that's worth betting into is gamblers are not betting in the small pools. You have to get the pool bill. How you do it? Ask Gabe Pruitt. He did it. And that's how we became one of the go-to tracks for gamblers to bet on. Our product, we always had the best product. We did.
Yeah.
We had a tremendous product. We just didn't have a handle. Was if somebody bet $100 to win, you took a horse from long odds to favorite, and that worked, you know. So, well, let me hit you. Let me see. I'm looking at that. Okay, you guys. Here's. Let's see, both of you. Okay. Let me see. Okay. One of them was. Well, you already answered this a little bit, but for both of you.
Yeah.
Any interest like the owning and the training, the driving? I've already heard from Kate Scott that she's owning, going for the training, going for the driving. If I happen to go home and retire, Kate, and they hire me as a judge, I'll get your license. I'll get you your license.
No, I've been around Wally for 40 years now, and you know, I've done everything from selling pari-mutuel tickets to announcing races to, you know, doing a lot of writing because of Ingham Palmer, and you know, promotions, got involved in that for a number of years, and you know, I still have the passion for it. I love it.
Believe me, you gave all you had.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if I'm with a comparing to a horse, they all can't go 150, right? If I'm driving a horse and he can pace 55, 56, and he does it consistently, that's all he's got. Give me something you haven't got. You gave everything you had, but I wouldn't give up on it yet. I mean, miracles do happen. They do happen.
Yeah.
What about this, guys? What about this one? What I heard you, the race, both is like, what race that you actually, you know, like you both love the game. I see it. What race would you, if either one of you owned a horse, what race would you like to be in and actually win?
Be the Gold Cup. I mean, us being Maritimers, I don't know about Kate, but myself, definitely Wally. You know, if I ever won the lotto or something like that, or had an extra 60, 70,000, but some of the horses are bringing now, man, it's tough. You know, when you got horses like Cover Bridge coming, I mean, you just can't go to Woodbine. You just can't go to Woodbine like the old days and grab one for 15 or 20 grand and come down here and compete in the Gold Cup and Saucer. It's changed so much, but you know, definitely would love to somehow be part of it.
Never know. What about you, Kate? Which one do you like?
I'm probably going to sound like a loser saying this, but having my own homebreds and everything, you know, even just being in a preferred class for the first time, would just to have that win, being like, oh my God, I had a top class horse.
Yeah.
In my eyes, especially at like Truro, because we don't have like that big circuit, that big type of thing. That to me, that would be huge.
Yeah.
And I can say, like, for experience, I had a racehorse, Prince Adam, and he was, everyone knew him as the killer, and he was not the nicest horse, but my goal was, before he retired, it was to win. I wanted one win, free leg it. That was it. I could care less how long it took me. I wanted that one free leg it win because I knew he could do it. But
Yeah.
the older he got, obviously he wasn't 100% sound. But I'm telling you, it was just like I won the Gold Cup and Saucer when he won free leg it. And I'm pretty sure he only went in 2-2. But that to me was like the worst, because it was a goal. It was a dream that
It's awesome.
I accomplished. So
I
It's an
think
awesome story, Kate.
I think that's tremendous myself.
Holy moly.
I really think that's tremendous. You know, like that's the way you feel. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you don't have to win the Gold Cup and Saucer. I mean, your Gold Cup and Saucer was there. You won the Gold Cup and Saucer there. Just had a different title on the top. Didn't say
exactly.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
Like own that special horse, or you like Scott, you've done every part of pretty much of the game, I guess, except driver train, right? You never drove, Scott?
I trained. I worked for Paul Dares for years, and I worked with Joe when he
working for the Race Day Live or stuff like that. Do you ever that's something maybe down the line too?
You know, I would love to do that. I've done it a little bit for Horse Racing New Brunswick for the last few years, and just recently I got out of it because I have a granddaughter that lives in Moncton, an hour and a half up the road. So I didn't want to, as much as I love horse racing, Wally, I had to make a decision because, you know, race days fall on Saturdays, and it was just too hard to commit when you got, you know, a new granddaughter in your life, and she's almost 3 years old now. So I've kind of given it up as far as working physically at the track, but you know, even if I'm somewhere and I can watch the races and throw up a quick post or something like that, but I'd love to work in racing full time. I mean, I worked in the race office at Exhibition Park for a couple of years, and that was probably the best 2 years of my life was working in the race office. You know, you meet so many people, you hear so many stories, and it's just something that I look back on that, you know, I'd love to do something like that again.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like I said, that's all, and that's going back to, you know, the other part about the harness racing is the dedication. You gotta, like my life has been just solely to, I mean, nights, weekends, holidays. Part of the business. And I can tell you this, as being in the business, you can take the holidays off, you can take the weekends off, but you'll pick the sheet up in another couple of weeks and your name won't be on it. So you better show up on holidays, and you better show up on weekends, and you better show up on rainy days. And you know, or you won't have to worry about showing up. That's part of what it is. Like, I mean, you have to be fully dedicated, right, you know, right into the whole thing. It just doesn't, you know, to succeed in this. Well, first, you got to learn how to win. You got to learn how to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You got to learn how to accept both.
Yeah.
Never get too high, never get too low. You know.
No, you got to leave the losses behind too, Wally, and look ahead.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta work hard. You gotta have a real short memory. I mean, you gotta come off the next time. I drove this one all over the track. I hope that guy stays away from me for a while. I don't want to see him for a little bit. I drove him, but you gotta have a short memory, and you know, you gotta have integrity by a million miles. You gotta have that, but you know, and you gotta have the ability. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
So will you do this again with us sometime?
Yeah, like I mean, this stuff to me.
I could do like 2 or 3 podcasts with you, Wally. I mean, there's so many things to ask about. We could sit here till midnight tonight and talk about, you know, just some of the highlights of your career, you know, like Moneymaker and just your Gold Cup and Saucer win. I mean, there's so much to talk about. We'd love to get you on again sometime and, you know, ask you some more questions and, you know, have yourself fire back a few too. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I come on anytime, guys. I mean, believe me, I'm not that busy anymore. I'm not that busy anymore. But you know, when you think about, you know, what you guys are doing, I just think it's so great for the sport. And you know, even if we touch a few people, like, you know,
no, that's right.
That young kid you had on there about a week or so ago, that just made me. I think he just added another 20 years to my driving career. That guy, that young kid.
Oh, is that right?
Because he was so inspired by harness racing and you know,
oh, Justin Turnbull.
Yeah, he was just so. I was just looking at him and thinking to myself, come on, Wally, you can get back to that thinking again. You can get back there, you know. But no,
he's got quite the stories. He's got Bulldog Hanover's shoes, and man, that kid's done a lot for just getting involved in the sport, and just a young kid from Nova Scotia. But man, he burns with passion.
Yeah. But everybody had on, believe me, it's all good.
Yeah.
I do know you're getting a couple of others on here. Doc Moore.
Doc Moore is on Sunday.
He's okay. He's gonna call it like it is.
That's right.
But the Magic Man.
Yes, I heard.
If he says anything about me, delete. Just delete, because one story about the Magic Man was he came to Pompano one winter. He had, by then he had pretty much retired from driving, but he still had 3 or 4 horses, and he was great. Like I drove his horses, and he was great. He was one of the greatest of all time.
Oh my God!
But anyway, I had hit a milestone that winter. I don't know which one it was, but it was a milestone. And we had a little thing back at the stables.
Yeah.
And everybody was coming, congratulating me on the milestone. Yeah. And he was sitting there, we're having a couple of drinks, and he's sitting there, and he said, "What's everybody congratulating you for?" And I said, "Well, I just hit X amount of wins, you know."
Yeah.
You know? He said, "Really?" He said, "How many did you have?" And I forget what it was. It was one of the numbers. Fine, right? Yeah. He said, "Wow, pretty good, huh?" He said, "How many losses you had? How many losses have you had?" And I said, "A whole lot more than that."
A lot more.
Yeah. But right. Don't believe anything he tells you. If my name does come up, don't believe what he says anyway. So.
And speaking of drives, you know, you have over like 55,000 drives in your career. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, it's not really a lot when you consider how many years I've been doing it. I never really went over it. never really went over a lot of drives per year. Most I've ever had maybe in a year would be 16 or 1700 in a year. That's a few drives, but it's really that many drives is not a lot over that extended period of time. My thing was generally between 1,000 and 1,500, so that sound about right, 50 years, 55,000, somewhere around.
Well, actually, just 4 years ago, Wally, in 2021, you actually had the most wins or the most drives you ever had in a season, 1,611. That's the most you've had.
Well, I set a goal that year.
There you go.
At an old age, I set a goal because one time, Timmy Tetrick and David Miller came down to Pompano for a driver's competition.
Okay, yeah.
And Timmy had asked me about something, and I told him, like, he won. This guy won 1,300 races in 1 year.
Yeah.
He won that.
I know.
How many drives did he have? He must have had 6,000, in 1 year. And so he said, that was the most drives you ever had. And I think I told him 15 or 1,600, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he said, you're lazy. He said, you're lazy. Well, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do for you this year. I'm going to drive more this year than I ever drove ever in any year. So I did I stuck to my promise.
Yeah, you did it. You did it, man. 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. A lot of thrills. A lot of spills. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. But love the game. Love the people in it. But I love the horses more. I love that's the whole game to me, the horse.
Totally agree.
Keep going because we love to watch you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you having me on. And keep up the good work. And I know that people love watching your podcast because people down here in the States where I am, like, I'm not moving around much anymore, but a lot of them tune in.
Oh, okay. It's nice to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they tune in and they watch it. And they one thing about the horse game now, it's pretty small because you can watch races from everywhere. And people, if you're in the business, you're in the business. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, Kate, you were okay. I guess I'm going to take that fine away from you for being late. But
there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Scott, it was good to talk to you again, Scott. I've known you, like, you were only a kid then, probably.
I was a kid, man.
Yeah, and some of my best memories were at Exhibition Park Raceway as well. That's where I met Barb. And,
yes.
And I went there 20 years ago.
Yeah, Barb was a good friend of my sister, Trudy.
Trudy, right?
Yeah.
Trudy, yeah. Some of my best years were spent there, and I still have a friendship there. Charlie Price I met him my first day I got there, and him and I are still great friends.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you guys, listen, you heard enough from me for tonight. And
we'll definitely get you on. We'll get you on again, Wally, because you've got lots of stories to tell.
Yeah. A lot of them I won't tell, but I got more to tell, but a lot of them I won't tell.
All right. So once again, our next podcast will be with Dr. Ian Moore this Sunday, and it will air on Monday. So thanks, Wally Hennessy, for joining us tonight on Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate. This is episode number 31 and sponsored by a real nice racehorse and owner, American History, and his owner, Patrick Hill. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate.